Hello everyone! Welcome back to another cooking video with me, Chef Eric. Today we're going to be making some kimchi jjigae, which is a Korean stew that I grew up eating all the time in my house. It was one of our favorite meals. So let's get started on this recipe. First off, you want to start by taking your ginger and garlic and putting it into a pot with some water. You can also use chicken stock or vegetable broth. If you don't have any fresh ingredients like this, I just had these lying around at home. And then after that, you want to go ahead and put in your sugar into the boiling mixture as well. Once everything has come together nicely, go ahead and add in your tofu. Now traditionally there are two types of tofu used for this dish. There's silken tofu, which is very soft, but today we'll be using regular firm tofu. After that, once all of that comes together, we will now be adding in our mushrooms. Today I am using shiitake mushrooms because they are my personal favorite. But feel free to use whatever type of mushroom you would like. If you do not have access to shiitake mushrooms, feel free to use oyster mushrooms, enoki mushrooms, king oyster mushrooms, anything else that you might find at your local grocery store. Next step, we're gonna take our dried seaweed and break it apart into small pieces, so that way when we stir them in later, they won't clump up too much. This is optional if you do not have access to seaweed. Feel free to skip over this part. We've got our soup base ready here. Go ahead and give it a nice little mix. Make sure everything is incorporated properly. Then we're gonna continue stirring until the liquid starts bubbling again. Once it does bubble, that means that it's almost done being cooked through. All you need to do from here is wait until the flavors melt together and then test it before serving. Here is what it looks like halfway through its process. As you can see, the color changed slightly. That's due to the fact that the mushrooms released their juices, as well as the tofu releasing theirs. When tasting this, make sure to keep an eye out. The flavor should be quite salty already, but if it isn't, feel free to add more salt accordingly. Just remember that the longer something sits in broth, the saltier it becomes. So try not to overdo it. Alright guys, so that about wraps it up for this segment. Thank you so much for watching. Let's move on to the next section. For those who may not know how to roll sushi rolls, here is a quick tutorial on how to do so. Starting off with a sheet of nori paper, flip it upside down onto your cutting board, so that way the shiny side faces upwards. Place your rice evenly across the top portion of the nori paper, then spread it out with either your fingers or a bamboo mat. Add your fillings towards the bottom half of the rice, and then tightly roll it up. Cutting it into 8 equal portions will yield perfect bite-sized pieces. And there you have it folks, your first ever homemade sushi roll. Now that we've finished rolling our sushi rolls, let's talk about plating techniques. Sushi chefs often use specific tools called makisu to help shape their food beautifully. However, since most people don't own such equipment, there are other ways to achieve similar results without having fancy gadgets. One method involves placing plastic wrap underneath each piece before arranging them neatly onto plates for presentation purposes only. Another option includes utilizing kitchen towels instead, since they provide enough friction against surfaces while still allowing flexibility when manipulating shapes during preparation stages. Lastly, but certainly not least, don't forget about garnishes. They play an important role in elevating simple dishes like ours into gourmet creations. Some popular choices include pickled ginger slices, wasabi paste made from horseradish root, mixed with green mustard powder, alongside soy sauce, made from fermented soybeans combined with vinegar. These condiments work great together because they complement flavors found within both raw fish and vegetables alike perfectly. With that said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you soon. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, Chef Eric here. Welcome back to another cooking video with me. Today we're going to be talking about how to bread meat properly without getting too messy or burning yourself while doing so. Breading meat correctly requires patience and attention to detail. Otherwise, you could end up wasting precious resources, such as flour or eggs, due to improper handling practices. In order to ensure success every single time, follow these tips closely. Begin by preheating your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, prepare 3 separate bowls filled with seasoned flour, beaten egg wash, and panko bread crumbs mixed with sesame seeds. Take individual pieces of cutlets out of freezer bags where applicable, and place them directly inside the flour bowl.